Hello and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Cambo Campbell.
Can I just say, I want to congratulate you. You just did something, and I'm going to unmask you now.
Uh-huh.
Moments before you did that energetic opening, you were yawning.
Yeah.
And you hit it perfectly. Because I, from the corner of my eye, I could see you yawning. I was like, oh, he's going to be too late.
Yeah.
And I turned back around, and you were straight into it.
You thought it was going to be, Reddit on Reddit.
Hello, welcome to Reddit on Reddit.
Yeah.
The listeners wouldn't have known, I don't think, if I hadn't brought it up. But I was
Have
just
you
so
seen-
impressed by how much you just switched.
I think there's a parallel between me doing that and when Katy Perry went on stage in concert after breaking up with Russell Brand.
Yeah.
Which is like a really specific reference, but if you know that.
Yeah. If
what-
you've seen
that
the
was me.
Katy Perry documentary, which we both have,
And honestly, it's great.
it is pretty good.
It's really good.
But yeah, there's this really heartbreaking moment where she's crying.
Yeah.
Just got the news that like her divorce is finalized and they're breaking up or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then it goes like that. She's on this platform that rises up into the stage and you see her just turn it off.
Yeah.
And then turn on her performance mode as the thing rises.
Yeah.
And you're like, that poor woman.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. I get so much more respect for her after that. I'd like to point out something that I've noticed.
Yep.
Is a quick thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think since the pandemic, I feel like we don't know that people have just become a bit short with each other.
Okay.
Like, I feel like there's just a general air of, there's this thing of, customers being rude to
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
store attendants and stuff. Like, I feel like people are more aware that this has happened recently. And I put it down to, like, the pandemic. Like, we were just locked up for so long, we kind of forgot just to be normal human beings and nice to each other and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I think as part of that, what I've noticed is that I don't get as many waves on the road
Yeah.
when
I
I'll
totally-
let a car through or something.
I totally agree with this.
Yeah.
I was noticing it just this morning when I was out on the road.
Yeah.
Just I don't think I got a single wave.
Yeah.
And even like if someone lets you through and you wave to them, sometimes they give you a mini wave back
Yeah.
to be like, yep, like you're welcome.
Yeah.
And someone did let me through and I gave them, I even like did an exaggerated wave.
Yeah.
No, like you're welcome wave back.
Yeah. I was just like, I'm so convinced that it is really a recent thing and it is because of the pandemic. And I think people are just more like, it's just, the world has just become more about the individual, I think, is how people are feeling. Like we just don't give a shit about other people. And so something as simple as like, oh, thank you for letting me through is too much for people.
We're talking about obviously here on like a skinny road where two cars can't get past each other without one moving to the side.
Yeah.
Do you think there's an aspect of the pandemic, like any pandemic is about self-preservation? Mm-hmm. So maybe you do start thinking of like, well, I need to protect me.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Me. Interesting.
Me. Oh, I'm
like
pretty
it.
good.
I like the sounds of that. Me. Ooh.
Yeah. I think it's weird. I think it's weird this like transition the world has gone through that's more about them.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. Pretty disheartening.
Yeah. Yeah. The world was already shit. It got worse. Turns out. Anywho, I think we should get into it. This first one is an Ask Reddit. But like we don't think about it.
Okay, well that's I was waiting for the justification and there it was.
Yeah. There is no justification.
Yeah. Just don't think about
Just don't think about it. It's by Gaia of Hell. And they have said, what is the most painful thing someone has ever told you? They've tagged it serious as well,
it. Oh, okay.
actually.
So no, like, oh my god, there's not going to be a Zack Snyder Justice League 2. Like, you can't do. Though, to be fair, I'm sure several people would have literally said that.
Yeah.
In certain pockets of these.
So I thought for this one, to make it obviously a little bit different, is we could go through some of the comments.
Yeah.
And experience the pain, I guess, of these other people.
For content.
For content.
Wow.
I think something weird. I don't know if this is like a. Oh, maybe it's just not loading. Oh, I can't credit any of the Reddits at the moment.
Oh, that's like the usernames aren't coming up.
Yeah, the usernames aren't coming up. Well, anyway, this first person has said, a year after he died, in brackets, now this is a quote, your father never loved you anyways. That's why he pays me child support to look after you.
Oof.
But then they've said, it's bullshit. His room was decorated with my childhood art. All his passwords were my name or birthday. He would have long talks with me about his regrets when we hung out. I knew it wasn't true, but nothing has hurt so much. People are such assholes.
Yeah. I mean, first they're not waving in the car.
First the waving thing.
And now this.
Honestly, mainly the waving thing. But the idea, this actually reminds me of my, I think it's like maybe step grandmother. I don't really know. I think that's technically correct. But she was just like a horrible person. Like literally would start drama and shit between family members, whatever, just for like the hell of it. I remember I never really knew my grandmother that well. But when my grandfather, and I didn't know my grandfather very well either, because we avoided my grandmother, my step grandmother.
Yeah.
But then towards the end of his life, like he was getting unwell, so we kind of like made this effort to see him. And just like the amount of like weird turmoil my step grandmother put kind of our family through in that time, just for like no good reason, just because like she's a bored person, was the worst. And I remember, so he eventually passed, obviously, and then we went to his funeral, and then she ended up complaining to the funeral home because she said that she wasn't there when her, husband's coffin was lowered into the grave.
Right.
But like she was there, but she just wanted to like cause drama and like,
weird.
Yeah, it's just she's such a strange person. I feel like there's, sometimes these people that exist that like, they live off this like sort of drama, this like fake, I don't know, like demeanor of like causing people anxiety and
I mean, it's pretty much the basis of reality television at this point, isn't it?
yeah.
Like now they're like, get a bunch of these women together,
Yeah.
feed them, give them some wine,
Yeah.
watch what happens.
Yeah.
Because they're all like, I know you're talking about me behind my back, you bitch.
Yeah.
Like just all causing their own individual dramas.
Yeah.
Like no one has to do anything to stir it up.
But then
I want to say
the good side of that
your
is-
grandma should have gone on that show.
she should have. She should have gone on that show. Those shows have given us that good meme, though. Where
Yeah,
there's two
that-
girls, like one's pointing, and then there's a cat sitting there.
Yeah. As with most things, if you look into that meme, it's
Yeah.
a very sad story behind
Is
that
it really?
screenshot.
I have zero idea.
Yeah. It's to like, I believe there's like the woman that's crying and screaming.
Yeah.
Was to do with like someone. She had been like abused by her husband and someone like not believing her, and she's like, "Fucking how dare you!"
That's
pretty
really horrible.
It's pretty dark. And everyone's like, "Isn't it so funny how she's crying?"
So
It's
funny.
like,
That's
look,
humans are the worst, Kemba.
Stacey could clear that up better. I believe it was something to do with abuse of a husband. Kind of
Right.
thing.
Oh my god, that's so horrible. Anyway, let's look at another horrible one.
Okay. Let the horribleness continue. Wait, also, just quickly before we move on from that one, did they mention, have I maybe just instantly forgotten, did they mention who said that? Because depending on who said it is also more painful. If it's like the mum,
Yeah.
that's way more painful than just some guy at your gym.
Yeah, I think it's like
It sounds...
from the mother, it sort of sounds
the
like.
inference is that it was the mother.
Yeah. So horrible. Okay, here's another one. Left my dad's bedside at hospice for the first time all day/night to get some rest in a comfier chair in one of their quieter rooms. Was woken up about 3 hours later with the news of his passing. I think about it a lot.
A lot of dying and dead dads.
Yeah, this is that'd be really horrible. How I could just imagine being that person and wanting to be there when your father or family member passes and you're like, just for this few, hours, they're probably, sleeping, seems like it's fine. You're like, I can just...
What's your take on this? Because I don't even know whether this is the right opinion. So help me out here. It definitely makes a difference if your parent is conscious or not. If they slipped away in their sleep over those hours, I would feel less guilty.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't have known I was there anyway. It would have been bad for me.
Yeah.
But if they were conscious up until
They looked over and you weren't
there, then I would feel far worse.
Yeah.
One is bad just for you. It's like, I should have been there.
Yeah.
The other one's like, oh my God, I let them down.
Yes.
I wasn't there for them.
That's true. And I think, look, I can totally understand this person's point of view because you do want to be there. But at the same time, it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's especially if they were unconscious.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess could be anywhere in the world.
You would have experienced it, but do you even want to? That's quite
a if
hard
they're
thing to experience.
There's always these instances of people, let's say, that are on the brink of death and maybe they've got some horrible disease or something and it causes a lot of pain, and they might say, I don't want my family to see me like this because I'm, it might taint kind of their image of me in my passing. And so, and I think probably any death, right? Even if it's sort of passing in your sleep, I feel like there is still probably lots of struggling for breaths kind of thing. It's not a nice thing to die. And so maybe it is actually better that nobody sees anybody die because you don't really need to be there and you're only just seeing somebody you love go through pain.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe not necessarily a good thing.
This could be our most fun episode yet.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird start, wasn't it? I even thought about it before and I was like, this is weird. I was like, maybe I should get another one. I was like, nah, screw it. Let's go with this. Here's another one. Once my ma told me and my brother that she would have been relieved if we were dead. Oh,
whoa!
We were annoying siblings, but that's pretty dark. Given we were quite young back then. Now I'm 25. My brother is 20. I'm pretty sure she didn't mean it word by word, but still sad thing to say to your kids.
Yeah, relieved is such an interesting word as well.
And the thing is, you can't ever come back from that.
No.
I think. He might be right. Oh, maybe it was in the moment or something.
Yeah. It depends. Maybe, she was at a point of frustration.
Yeah.
And the kids were annoying her. And the kid was like, well, okay, what would happen if I was dead? She's like, I don't know, I'll be fucking relieved, all right?
Yeah.
That's not her being like, I'd be so fucking relieved if you died.
They're
two different reads of that sentence.
Yeah.
Both a pretty bad thing to say. But one you can imagine as an outburst of frustration with a kid winding her up.
Yeah.
And the kid taunting, and she's just like, I don't know, I'd be fucking relieved.
Yeah.
Or the other one's they're in bed and you hear she creeps over and sits on the end of the bed and goes, I'd be so fucking relieved if you died. Oh my God. I think about it every night, so fucking relieved. All right.
Hey, she takes another sip from her wine.
Let me fucking tell you. Shay, come here. I'd be so fucking relieved.
Yeah. Cameron, you said that with such honesty. I'm starting to feel like maybe there's something you'd like to tell the podcast. Do you think that it's bad that throughout this podcast, I've said things like, don't necessarily want kids. I haven't said that I,
You've always
will
reserved the
definitely
right.
I've reserved the right to have kids.
Yeah.
But I, in general, don't want them.
Yeah.
Do you think that's bad for if I do have a kid in future and they listen back to these episodes and they're like, my dad was very open and honest about not really wanting kids.
Yeah, I've thought about it before as well. We've said some stuff.
Yeah.
Specifically about our own future children.
Yeah. About how I wish they were dead.
But in a way, if my kid was like, Dad, can I listen to the podcast? Part of me would be like, oh, new listener.
Make sure you give us 5 stars, obviously. 5 stars or in your room. It's up to you. Get your friends to listen too.
Kids having a sleepover. Hey kids, it's Dad.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say, if you could, whip out the phones. Search Reddit for it. You can now rate us on Spotify if you want. Yeah. They've got a new rating system on there. 5 stars, obviously, or you're all grounded. Once you've all done it, this door will become unlocked. Okay.
Yeah. You'll be able to go to the bathroom. For the first time in my life, I've considered having children.
And heaps.
Yeah, so many of them. Oh, my God. Yeah. Anywho, I think we should move on into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit is by Immediate Salary 736. You have 5 minutes to live. Who would you like to talk to in those minutes?
It depends on the circumstance. If it's like for medical reasons, bring that doctor in here.
Yeah.
I'm going to yell at him.
Yeah. Like,
if it's an asteroid, I don't know, maybe someone more interesting,
Oh, okay. So you have 5 minutes to live, and your instinct is like, this is the doctor's fault for not saving me.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm going to let him know about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, that's pretty good. Because I think there's something kind of nice about dying while sort of aggressively yelling at somebody. I think there's a sort of comfort I would have.
He went out screaming.
Yeah. Yeah. He was not happy about it.
You got to think about the content though. So if you got like a phone call from me and I was like, Nelson, I've only got 5 minutes to live. So, bear with me here, but we need one last bit of content.
Yeah. What would you say as our last...
I'd have to end it with read you later, I guess. But,
yeah, that's good. That's only a few seconds. You got 5 minutes of talking. If it was us, I think we'd ramble about something that was irrelevant. And you're like, there was so many things I wanted to say.
Yeah, similar to like the start of this episode. Did about 5 minutes on waving on the roads. So I'm sure it'd be an irrelevant piece of commentary, whatever it was.
Yeah, we would talk about that for a bit, and then it'd be over, and be like, oh.
Yeah, at one point you'd be like, what do you think of that, Cabo? Cabo?
Cabo? But it doesn't seem right to do a 5 minute episode, so I guess I'll go on for another hour and 25 minutes. Yeah, okay. Do you think we should do a surprise interview if that's the last? So that's the last 5 minutes.
Because then death will be a relief.
Yeah.
I understand.
Actually, if surprise interview is anything to go by in the past, we'd actually just be calling numbers when nobody picks up for the 5 minutes.
Because obviously no one answers unknown numbers anymore.
Yeah.
I normally have my phone set to unknown numbers don't get through. They'll just alert me to be like, "Hey, do you recognize this number?" I'd be like, "No, I'm not gonna pick that up."
Yeah.
And then recently, I've had to because Stacey and I are trying to buy a house. Had to because you obviously get calls following up from like real estate agents and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to turn that setting off to be like, all right, unknown numbers can get me. Oh my God, I should never have done it. Because obviously real estate agents call you a lot.
Yeah.
But then just the influx of other numbers as well.
Oh, really?
Recently and scarily, I suppose, given the world at the moment, a lot of them from Russia. Oh. It picks up like where it suspects it's being routed from in the thing. It'll be like this number, and if it looks suspicious, it'll have in brackets like estimation and then the country.
Right.
A lot of them, Russia.
Oh,
Yes.
what are they saying?
Yeah.
Hey, Putin's a great guy. Did you know
Yeah.
that?
Everything you hear about Ukraine is not true. Bye.
Yeah, okay.
Calling everybody in the world to say this.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That'd be a good tactic. Just
There's
call
like
everybody.
Ukraine, yes or no? What does that?
Yeah.
In what context? Just yes or no?
Then there'll be like some false
And you'd
statistics
be like,
that
well,
come out.
And you're like, I guess
in
I
Russia.
support Ukraine, so yes, you agree we should take Ukraine. Okay, bye.
Yeah. And in their news, they're like, 100% of people believe Russia should take over Ukraine. Yeah.
Shouldn't joke about it. A lot of people are dying.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Is there anybody else that you would like to talk about? Somebody that you're like, I would like to get this off my chest.
I feel like for this answer, you need to take all of the standard people as read. Family, loved ones, things like that.
Boring. Yeah. I don't want to talk to them anyway. You know?
Who would be... What about someone that has top secret clearance?
Oh.
And just be like, just tell me.
Literally. I'm
Tell
going
me,
to die in 5 minutes.
tell me Roswell. Tell me JFK. Tell me all that stuff.
Tell me all the stuff. Yeah, that's good, but also could be the most disappointing 5 minutes.
Well,
of your life.
yeah. But you could go out being like, I knew it.
I knew.
What happened to JFK? That guy shot him from the window.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Happened in Roswell? Nothing. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
There's literally no evidence of aliens.
Yeah.
Fair
People
enough,
just made up a story. That's it. I think I've got it there. Priest.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just in case.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Get a priest, a rabbi. Just get one of each.
You get one of each.
And be like, oh, do your stuff.
Yeah. Just checking you all forgive me for my sins and stuff on behalf of God before I'm, you know.
Hands up, which of you do last rites? Right.
Yeah.
You guys all do your thing.
Yeah. But like at the same time, we don't have enough. We don't have enough time here, so I'm not really listening anymore.
Protestants and Catholics, you guys get along, all right? Just for 5 minutes, get along.
It's my dying wish, guys. Actually, my dying wish is to get into heaven, so you know.
Work on that.
Yeah. Here's another one. This is by Seraphinil. Do you reckon that's a word that I've just really poorly mispronounced? Seraphinil. Anyway. What is something you didn't realize was going to consume so much of your time as an adult?
Well, speaking as a man currently living without a dishwasher, you can just never have all of your plates and stuff like clean.
Yeah.
And there's just like no matter what, because even if you're like, oh, I need to make a meal, maybe there's not that many things. Oh, do some dishes, and you do them, and then you take one of them to have the meal, and then instantly you've started the process again. It's the same with like clothes. You can never have all of your clothes clean because you're wearing clothes at one point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Just the ongoing sort of chores of cleaning in some degree is like, yeah, that's true, because I think especially when you're younger and there's barely, even if you had to do like chores around the house or something as a kid, I feel like you're like, ugh, I'll just do this one. I'll just, vacuum the lounge room. That's the one chore I have to do. And then I won't have to think about cleaning for the next 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I just need to get through this one thing. And when you're older, you're like, what? Like every couple of weeks or something. It's insane. And I think because it all builds on top of each other, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, washing your clothes and then the dishes but then your house and, there's just things that kind of stack on top of each other.
And none of them take that long. And none of them are that difficult to do. They're just always there.
Yeah. So annoying. Especially, I just moved into a much larger place. And it's funny, actually, because, I mean, for the past, like, many years, I've only lived in relatively small, like, 1-2 bedroom kind of apartment places. And it's funny now being, like, having a place where there's just so much more dirtiness in places.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's cobwebs on the outside of the windows that I want to clean off that are on the second level. Like that's a difficult task to like get to and clean, and we'll probably overnight have another fucking spider make another spider web. So it's like at some point I'm gonna have to accept that there's cobwebs there, but don't want them to get too dirty. And then, like it's just knowing that there's so much more mess possible, really disheartening.
Yeah, and it's just a thing, like, it just takes up more of your... Because it's this kind of thing that, like, it never takes over your thoughts. But there's always, like, in the back of your thought to be like, oh, okay, I need to do that. All right, I need to clean this. Oh, that probably needs a vacuum. That needs a... You know, and as a kid, I just never would have pictured that.
Yeah. I also think, actually, a big one is just the fact that, like, working. Working, I remember specifically... going from like casual part-time work, and even in those times I might have even been working like 6, sometimes 7 days a week, just on, you know, casual basis, not always 8 hours though, I'd say, and then sort of transitioning to a like 8-hour 5 days a week job, and me just being like, oh shit. Like, this is it. This is what adults do for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Like, you will just forever be working roughly 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that's your life now. It was just a, I don't know, eye-opening and sort of depressing experience, I think, when I had that realization.
Yeah, the creeping thought of work.
Yeah. So annoying. But yeah, it's fascinating. All right. I think we should move on to Today I Advice. So now it's time for Today I Learned. Let's play the intro to that. Today I Learned. And also sometimes advice. This advice is by Adhadhashadibid. Just found out I've won a large amount of money in the lottery, and I'm afraid that this will ruin my relationship with family. How should I proceed?
The lottery curse.
The old lottery curse.
I mean, the lottery curse, I think, encapsulates a lot of different aspects of just bad stuff happening. Sometimes it's bad money management. Sometimes it's family fallouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What would you do if you won the lottery? Like, I think we're both in relatively good positions where, like, I don't think our families would go too crazy. Like,
yeah, I think probably not.
Yeah, like, I'm sure I could help my family out, but I don't think my family would ever be like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you not give me this money? You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I sort of think that, but then at the same time, I wonder whether people are like, oh, but like, you know, because you think that now when it's not real.
Yeah.
But I think there's maybe an element of, like, let's say one of our family members won the lottery, and at the moment you're looking to buy a house of Stacey, right? Yeah. You're like, if we just had, like, you know, $50,000 more, it could really change
what we could get,
whatever, you know? And so, and it might just like constantly play on your mind.
Yeah.
If they're just like not necessarily giving out money or whatever, you know, and you're like, oh, just, it's annoying that, and they might be going on like holidays and talking because of course you would. And so it might just like that sort of thing press onto you more and more.
Here's the thing. It depends who in my family won the lottery. Like, I got one brother. He's like the enigma brother of our family. And I'm pretty sure he does have a lot of money that we just don't know about. If I had to guess,
Yeah.
if I had to guess which of us kids had the most money, I'd be like, it's him.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But like he lives very, very modestly, and like we don't buy each other Christmas presents or anything for Christmas. Like any of the siblings or the parents or whatever, we just get presents for the small kids, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that if I won the lottery when it came to Christmas, I would get everyone something.
Yeah, yeah.
But I bet you he'd come and just be like,
Yeah.
no, we just don't get presents.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
That's the thing that we do, yeah.
And like,
By the way, I bought another house.
But see, the thing is, I don't even think he would go on like an extravagant holiday or whatever. And I reckon they get to a point where like he'd probably still live in his same house. Maybe he'd make it bigger and a little nicer or whatever.
Yeah.
But you'd be like, don't you have like $15 million? He'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's how I would like to imagine that I would use my money, because I'm so paranoid of losing
Being broke.
millions if I got it, that I would do probably one of the more dumb things. See, I was speaking to my girlfriend about this, and she was sort of saying she used to be a financial planner, so she's understands, I guess, how you should like invest money. But to me, investing money is actually a risk, because I know if I just had, like millions of dollars, my whole goal in life is just to never work again.
Yeah.
Right. But I know if I physically just have this money, I can do that. Right. Like if I had, I don't know, $20 million or something, like I can live off $20 million for the rest of my life. I don't have to increase that. So, I don't want to like almost risk putting it in investments, even if they're like relatively safe or whatever, because I'm like, but that might mean that I lose it. Whereas I could just slowly spend this $20 million. But at the same time, that's why I think I would struggle giving money to anyone. I know, because I'm like, well, I know I've got this $20 million and I'm not investing it. So I just need to, I'd be like almost still cautious-ish with my money until I'm probably like 80 and I've still got $18 million left. And I'm like, I should probably start spending this now because, I'm almost dead.
That's when you buy the sports car finally.
Yeah.
Just as the vision is starting to go.
Yeah. But at the same time, I've thought, okay, if I win the lottery, there's a part of me where, just like all my friends, like relatively close friends. So I'm even talking to people like maybe I haven't spoken to them for a few months or something, maybe 6 months, maybe even a year, but people that I would still consider, friends.
Yeah.
I'd just give them 20 grand.
Right.
Just straight up. Because I'm like, it's not really that much. I'm assuming I win, roughly like
Big,
$20 million-ish dollars.
If you won like $2 million, as much money as that seems now, and neither of us have close to that, I would not expect anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because $2 million will get you a pretty good house.
Yeah, you buy a house and then you've got like a little bit left over in savings. Yeah, maybe that's something you can invest. But
I mean, even the area, we live in a nice area at the moment, just renting a small unit. Yeah. But you couldn't buy a house where we live for $2 million.
Yeah.
Like at all. There's one just across the road, just a rare house sold for 5.5.
Yeah.
Like you could get a pretty good house somewhere okay.
Yeah, that's right. And so, anyway, I think that if I won something like $20 million, because $20,000 I feel like is a relatively significant amount of money to just give sort of friends, but also not enough to make me worried that I'm giving away too much cash.
Yeah.
And then I think that would be, and I'd probably give away more to like closer people. Again, I would be in two minds about it like the entire time I'm doing it. I'm like, I could just also not tell anyone that I've won the lottery.
Yeah, that always crosses my mind whenever the theoretical thing comes up, to be like, just don't tell anyone.
Yeah. Do you know what my thing is when I think about that? Is, do I spend money / time / effort in pretending that I got a job somewhere else that I can work from home permanently, and I maybe like pay myself almost an income from like another bank account, you know?
Right, yeah.
Just to try and not let people know that I am, essentially not working. Like, do I try to make the lie that convincing?
Yep. Well, I think I would. I don't think I would go that far. If people are like, "What do you do for work?" I'm like, "I just freelance."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But like, don't you think? Like, I would be like, "What the fuck do you mean you freelance?"
Just
Like,
freelance.
yeah. See, I'd get really suspicious. But if I was like, if I just told you, I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing data for," I reckon I could say, an esport company in overseas. I reckon that's enough for you to be like, yeah, okay. And like not really have any follow-up questions.
It pays well? Real well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty good. Like then there's just a small percentage of friends that I might have to give more detail to.
Yeah.
And then I could maybe just find
Do you need to start a shell company?
Yeah. I'd have to spend millions of dollars setting up a fake company. That
Oh, yeah. I can see here it is listed as legit esports, the company you said that you work for.
Yeah. That's me. That's what I get. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, risky, I think, to let people know you've won the lottery. Ruins relationships. Do you think, though? Okay. Do you think then it's worse if you don't tell anybody that you won, but then everybody finds out? Is that is that worse than just winning the lottery and maybe not really giving people what they want?
Okay. How is this? A little bit of role play.
Okay.
I've won the lottery.
Yeah.
And you are about to find out I've won the lottery. Right?
Okay.
So you're like, oh my God, have you won the lottery?
Oh my God, have you won the lottery?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Didn't I tell you about that?
No?
Why? Is that a problem?
Yeah. Like
Before you answer, what do you think of this? 20 grand.
Oh. I'm warming up
Just
to the
immediately
idea.
give them 20 grand.
Warming up to the idea.
And distract them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Were you really freelancing?
Yes. I recently won the lottery.
I think 20 grand would make me feel better about that freelancing life.
I'm going to take the original 20 grand back. It also depends whether this person is in a country. Different countries have different laws and privacy rights around the lottery. Some people can remain anonymous, but some countries do publish the winners of lotteries.
Yeah.
So if it's a country where you can remain anonymous, far easier to do this.
Yeah.
But otherwise you need to hide that news from your family.
Yeah. I think maybe in the UK, it is published, which is interesting because in Australia it's not.
Yeah.
Like you can remain anonymous here. But I remember hearing a story about somebody who'd won there, and I don't know, somebody was talking to him and just asking about what like their biggest expense is, and they said security.
Yeah.
They're like, most of my lottery winnings goes on literally hiring bodyguards to follow my children to school or like escort my children to school.
It's like a weird doxing.
And like they stay outside the school grounds for the entire day, and I'm paying them a wage this entire time because like you don't want your kids to get kidnapped because everybody knows you've now got $300 million or whatever it is, because that's the thing as well. Like I would like to think in Australia, like the other week it got up to, I think, 120 million, but that's kind of rare, Normally they sit around
50.
Yeah. Maybe average is 50. But yeah, I know in America they're like hundreds of millions of dollars. And the ones I've seen anyway. And I just think that's like so much more of a stupid amount of money where, maybe you are more likely to be kidnapped or whatever. But in Australia, if somebody was like, you won $50 million, I don't know whether, because kind of like what we were saying about the $2 million and stuff, like, is it enough? Like, if you were going to kidnap somebody, I'm thinking I want like at least $100 million for the risk of, kidnapping somebody, plus probably sharing it with multiple people. I feel like it would just be really, it's almost not as worth it here. So, it'll be fine. Here's Today I Learned. This is by Hi Dude 100. Today I learned that in the early days of crossword puzzles, the game became an object of cultural hysteria. Newspapers and magazines from the 1920s to 1930s warned of a crossword craze gripping the country's minds. The trend was described as an epidemic, a virulent plague, and a national menace.
The most upsetting thing I've ever learned about crosswords?
Yeah.
Is when they were invented, the guy that invented them named them a word cross puzzle.
Oh.
And I don't like that at all.
Yeah, that's... What an idiot.
That makes sense, like word crossing. Like,
Yeah.
right, like it makes as much sense as crossword.
Yeah.
Really. But
Yeah.
you're just so accustomed to crossword.
Word.
And I wonder if he's like, I invented something. It's called a word cross puzzle.
Yeah.
And then other publishers are like, well, we want to get that. He's like,
Yeah.
well, you got to pay me for that. And like,
Yeah.
oh, no, ours is a crossword.
Yeah.
And that just became the royalty-free version or something.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Yeah, he should have patented so many different types of names.
What going on now do you think people are making a big deal about, like the crossword puzzle?
Yeah.
That will just become an inane thing.
I brought this up specifically because of the one thing at the moment that's really huge. Do you know what this is? I feel like it's not a you thing, so that's why maybe you don't.
Can't think of it.
Oh, okay. It's called Wordle.
Oh, yeah, but that's not, and like, they're saying this is like, crosswords are like a bad influence on people. It's like a...
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, Wordle is very popular. I know of Wordle.
Right, yeah,
But they're saying that like, oh, crosswords, oh my God, you shouldn't be doing crosswords.
Yeah.
But I think everyone agrees Wordle's a bit of harmless fun.
No,
I was
I
saying
think
like,
it's the devil.
I was saying like, I don't know, like people that are doing TikTok dances or whatever, and they're like, oh, these kids these days, what? Like, it's gonna rot their brain. And then in 50 years' time, they're like, everyone does it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's hard to say now because I feel like history has shown us that there's so many things that don't end up being an issue.
what about nude photographs?
Well, I mean,
I would say from like the 1990s when Pamela Anderson's tape was leaked to now, the stigma has changed, not a whole heap, but has changed slightly for the better.
yeah.
If you do another 50 years, do you think if someone has nude photographs of themselves, it'll be a far less of a big deal than it is now? Because remember, like when that Pamela Anderson thing happened, even though that tape was literally stolen from their house, they're like, how could she do that? Like they just blamed her. Not even Tommy Lee, they just blamed her.
Yeah.
But now, like I think if in 50 years' time a celebrity had nude photos leaked online, I think it'd be more like, how could they do that to them?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Okay, here's my general thoughts about nude photos is unless you're willing for strangers to see them, then you shouldn't take them. Because I think there's always that risk. And like, I'm not saying it's fair on you if they do get leaked or whatever, but I just feel like right now you have to assume that if you take a nude photo, there is a percentage chance that that's going to get leaked.
I just think...
And it's not... I'm not blaming that person that it does get leaked, but like, you just have to know that.
I just think that in the future, this is my wild take on this, that if someone's nude photos get leaked, they'll be like, it's annoying, but like, it won't ruin careers or it won't do whatever.
Right, yeah,
I just think that it'll be like, everyone will be like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, is it like ruining people? I know obviously you mentioned like Pamela Anderson stuff was pretty bad, but do you reckon that...
No, I think it's already getting destigmatized.
Yeah.
I mean, look at OnlyFans.
Yeah. Or you could do what some women have done in the past. I know in particular, like Emma Watson, right, where she did that nude shoot, didn't she? Was that Emma Watson?
Don't think so.
Yeah, actually, I think it might have been her.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I thought, now maybe I'm just making up the person who was. I really thought it was Emma Watson, actually, because I remember people giving her shit for the fact that she did it, because obviously she's been pro women's rights. But her point was kind of like, well, not her specific point, but just like, shouldn't be ashamed of this sort of stuff and yada yada. Like, and so I think maybe this is future Cambo. It becomes mandatory for everybody to upload nudes of themselves.
Yeah.
Like a driver's license. Every X amount of years, you got to upload new nudes.
Yeah.
That just anybody can see.
Yeah, every 10 years.
Destigmatized says everything.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm all for it. It's my political campaign that I'm going to start. All right, let's move on to shower thoughts.
Speaking of nude.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought is by the White Witch 69. We all want to go back to our childhood, but we all will be disappointed if we ever do so.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Nostalgia is a really weird thing.
Yeah.
Because you are like, movies were better in my day or whatever it is. But you remember 10 movies of the 150, 200 movies that came out in those years. Like you're seeing such a sliver.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they weren't. Like they if they were, they would have been remembered too.
Yeah. There's sort of part of me that actually thinks that it wouldn't be you wouldn't be disappointed, because you understand, I think, the responsibilities now you have as an adult. And I think if you go back to your childhood, you instantly don't have those responsibilities. So the idea of maybe the, Cocoa Pop cereal won't taste as sweet as you remember. But the fact that you could be like, but I have, knowing that in the future I'll have so much more responsibility in one way or another. And now, because essentially life is the same, aside from the fact that the responsibilities are lessened when you're a kid.
Do you think in this imagined circumstance, do you have the mental cognitiveness that you have as an adult, but you're just a child?
Yeah.
Because this is what I'm thinking of, right? As an adult, sometimes you love a little sit down.
Yeah.
Right. So we were over at some friend's house the other night. Our friends, they have kids.
Yeah.
So we were sitting down, a couple of snacks and the things. We were all having a chat. And their kids were running around. And I remember specifically being like this as a kid.
Yeah.
Where the parents are like, just sit down for a bit and have a meal. And you're like, oh my God, I don't want to sit down. I couldn't wrap my head around why all these parents wanted to sit down all the time.
Yeah.
And just talk. That was so boring.
Yeah.
But if I'm a kid again, but I still have my mental capacity of now, I'd be like the best kid ever, because they'd be like, do you want to sit down for a while? I'd be like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I've
Yes,
been
please.
so tired of playing this whole time. It gets weirder the more specific of the circumstance that you think about. Like, am I just in a 9-year-old's body, but I'm talking to my...
Do you have knowledge of the future?
Do I have knowledge?
You could win so many arguments. Someone's arguing about Betamax and VHS.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how I know this, but it's going to be VHS.
Yeah. Get this. There's going to be a thing called Bitcoin in future. Buy those.
I've been trying to buy it
instantly.
already. It doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
But I'm getting in day one.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. This is by Master 666. 18 years old is not an adult.
Well, it's funny that I've always thought this, right?
Yeah.
Like 18-year-old seen as adult. Most places, some countries differ. Some is 16, some is 21, kind of thing. But to me, the logical point seems 20, because it's literally you're not teen anymore.
Right.
You've gone from like kid to teen and then once you add a teen, adult.
Right.
But
Okay.
no country does that.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
21 or 18 or like.
Yeah. I think this is what countries should do. It should actually be up to the individual to determine when they've become an adult.
Okay.
And they have to explain to someone, you know, a jury of adults, what the thing was that they like made them realize that they were an adult.
Yeah.
For example, I realized I was an adult this morning. Again, reaffirmed.
Yeah.
Because I've done other things like this. But this morning, because I went onto Reddit and there was recommended to me the subreddit r/botanical porn. And there's just some really lovely pictures of some beautiful flowers. And I was like, I'm going to join this subreddit because that looks brilliant. And I thought, this is me being an adult.
What about the first time someone says a phrase or a saying and you have to look up what that meant?
Oh, yeah. Like lol or something, but
Like
more,
I remember I was on the
SMH was one we've spoken about.
Yep.
Could be something like that.
But I remember, this is not me trying to make myself sound young, but I remember I did this to someone and I felt kind of bad because I said to them, "Oh, this song slaps,"
Yeah.
and they were like, "But is that good or bad?" I was like, "No, that's good. It's a good thing." It's like, okay, and I was like, "Oh, I just gave them the moment
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, I don't know that one."
That's so funny because to me that's really old.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm thinking the opposite.
To be fair, this was a while ago.
Right,
But I'm
right.
saying that moment that I just described where someone says something to me like, "Don't know that one." That's when you're an adult.
I see that as like they said that in the 50s kind of thing. So it's that fact that you've said it proves that you're old.
Oh, right. No,
Yeah.
I said to someone older than me.
Right. Oh, see, that's weird because I just see that as a like, funnily enough, an older phrase. that, like,
I
but
didn't.
anyway,
I
yeah.
didn't think it was particularly new either.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So I think that should be it. And then also people can judge like what, you think you've done. So somebody might come up to the jury and be like, "Oh, I got a bank account that has higher interest for my savings.
Yeah.
I've now become an adult."
Yeah.
And I think people, the jury goes away and discusses this, obviously. It's a really lengthy process to become an adult. People go like, "Oh, is that really an adult?" I feel like that's not, see, if that was me, I'm voting no. That's not adult behavior just yet. Like you've still got a while away. Like you're getting there. It's a good step up. But you need to like something a little bit more serious. You need to have some sort of like epiphany that changes your life. That you're like, "Oh, I'm an adult now. This life is boring," And then that's when you're an adult. That's when you know.
Okay, so they need to self-declare and then be reviewed
Yeah.
by a jury of adults.
Yeah. But you also got to be wary of the people who try to stay kids forever.
This is what I'm thinking is there'll be like some 40-year-old person.
Yeah.
It's like, I've just never had that moment. I guess I'm young.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Sometimes you can get independently and randomly reviewed, much like if you were to get audited doing your taxes. And if people think that you haven't declared your adultism,
Yep.
Jail.
Yeah, I would say it is. And I would also put the thing, if you haven't done it by 30. If you haven't declared adulthood by 30, there's an investigation.
Yeah, I think maybe there's just a higher likelihood, like when you pay taxes, and if you're earning millions versus like a few grand a year, you're far more likely to get investigated.
Yeah.
So it's like the older you get, 30 plus, it's like your chances of getting audited.
Like, if they come into your house, like you haven't declared adulthood,
Yeah.
but that's an expensive knife set in your kitchen.
Yeah.
You've made that deliberate purchase to have better cutting utensils in
You're
your
like,
kitchen.
"Oh, it was a gift. I didn't want it. I haven't used them yet." I like people that are really trying to hold on to it. They like decorate their house with like kids doing stuffed toys around. I'm still an adult. Yes, but your curtains match the carpet. Okay. Should we move on? Yeah, sure. Okay. Why not? Let's get into podnapping.
Oh my God, I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is Podnapping, where we nap a pod. We take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves. This week's my week, and I'm going to podnap the TV show Would I Lie to You?
Ah, Nelson, are you talking about the hit Australian TV show Would I Lie to You?
I refuse to watch the Australian version because there is just... Australia has, like, bad humor to begin with in general, I think.
Well, see, I slightly disagree. I think Australia has some really great comedians, but none of them are on TV. Like, they are not the ones that are
Right, yeah.
the popular. Like, you look at something like Auntie Donna or any of like
They are on TV.
They are now a bit more like, but like the kind of smaller independent Australian comedy, I think is actually pretty good. Melbourne Comedy Festival's got a lot of talent.
I think it's because they distance themselves from what
It ends up on TV.
ends up on TV. Like, we don't want to be associated with this garbage.
Yeah.
So, yes. Anywho, so I'm going to tell you 3 stories. And I think I'll tell you all 3 at once.
Okay.
And then you can choose to ask me questions about each individual one.
Okay.
And you have to tell me whether they're a truth or a lie.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one is, I wore a dress on my last day of primary school. The next one is, I once threw a chopping board I ruined at the window, hoping no one would notice. And the third one is, I once pretended to cry during a magic show to ruin the magician's act.
Oh, okay. That one is instantly believable for you. And I don't know why. I don't actually know what that says about you, other than
I think I'm offended.
there would be a part of you that would be like, this fucking guy. I'm going to bring him down a peg. Okay, we'll start with the first one.
Okay.
You wore a dress to the last day of primary school.
Last day of primary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know in high schools, last day of high school, you have what's used to be called a muck-up day. I don't know whether they still happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they got banned everywhere.
Yeah.
'Cause people started like setting teachers' cars on fire.
Yeah, they got out of hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like muck-up was a very generous term for it. It became crime day.
Yeah. With no repercussions.
But part of muck-up day was you dress up in funny things.
Yeah.
Had a comedy. Man dressed in a dress.
Yeah.
If you look at Monty Python,
Yeah.
right?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It does it get funnier? Apparently not. Do you do a shrill voice with it? Absolutely.
That's where the comedy comes from.
But did you? Why in primary school? Because I'm not aware of a muck-up day style thing at primary school.
Yeah. I was the only one who did this.
Okay.
It wasn't like, there wasn't really a muck-up day in primary school. I think we did some like weirder kind of activities. But I thought it would be funny to dress up as a girl, essentially, in a dress, and just sort of like have a bit of a laugh. Be like, this is just a bit of a funny joke for the last day of primary school. Everybody be like, ha, classic Nelson doing a funny little thing.
Yeah.
Wearing a dress.
How did it go over?
I was more embarrassed than I thought I would be as soon as I turned up to school, and people were like, what? What's this about? What do you... I don't get it. And I was like, oh, yeah, just a bit of funniness going on. And then...
End of primary school, how old are you there? 12, 11?
Yeah, I think it's that's almost exactly right. 11 to 12. I can't really remember exactly.
Okay.
Okay,
so obviously your parents helped you get ready? They were in on the joke?
Yep. Is my mum helped me and my sister. It was my sister's clothes.
Okay. Very progressive for the 90s, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
which is good. Your mum and your sister helped you. You dressed up in a dress for the last day of primary school, thinking it would be funny.
Yeah.
It's just kind of awkward.
Just a bit awkward.
Kids are 11 and 12, and they're like, I don't understand the irony here.
Yeah, this is... What is this joke?
Yeah. And what was the joke is, look, I'm in a dress.
I guess that was the joke.
Which, to be fair, like, not a great joke, but for an 11, 12-year-old,
yeah, kind of funny.
Yeah. I can imagine you being like, this will kill.
Yeah.
Okay. Second one. You threw you broke a chopping board?
I once threw a chopping board I ruined out the window, hoping no one would notice.
How'd you ruin it?
It was a board that was made of plastic.
Yep.
And
What color?
it was like a clear plastic.
Okay. See-through.
Yeah.
See-through chopping board.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And I actually melted some of it because I put a hot thing from the oven.
Yeah, what were you cooking?
Pizza?
Okay.
The thing...
Which comes in on a tray, and then you put the tray on the clear chopping board.
We had a pizza... It was like a round pizza stone dish that you put in the oven. Mm-hmm. And so that was in the oven, and I took it out, this stone thing, and I put it on the chopping board straight away. Yep. And then that melted the chopping board a little bit. And and I was like, oh crap, that's not good.
Yep.
What if I just throw this out the window?
Yep. So out the kitchen window?
No. Kitchen window wouldn't have made sense in my house.
Okay. You didn't have like a window over the sink or anything?
I did, but I mean like...
Not that opened.
It just would have gone into the courtyard.
Right.
But I threw it out a window where there was garden below it. There was like a garden bed.
Okay.
So I thought if I throw it out this window, it's going to land in the garden bed.
Yep.
We'll literally never see that again.
Which room in their house was the window?
It was my bedroom.
Okay.
At the time.
Yeah. From memory, your bedroom towards the back of the house was at a different room at this time.
I was in a different room. This one was like actually at the front-ish sort of end of the room of all the bedrooms.
Yep. Windows floor to ceiling or smaller?
Smaller.
Okay.
From memory, I think I had to take off a fly screen.
Okay.
to then throw it out the window.
Okay.
Like unwind it a little bit.
Yeah.
Slip it through.
Yep.
Slip it down.
Okay. Now third one.
Okay. I once pretended to cry during a magic show to ruin the magician's act.
I don't know if I have that many questions for this. It's very believable that you do it.
Okay.
But how old were you? Because I can imagine you doing it now.
Yeah. I would do it now. Yeah. I would have been... I think maybe like under 10. Mm-hmm. Or like maybe around 10.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, like still in primary school, definitely.
Yeah. Where was the magic show?
It was in Movie World.
Okay.
On the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Family trip away.
Hollywood on the Gold Coast.
Hollywood.
Some would say.
On the Gold Coast, yeah. And and so this guy was, he was doing a trick where I was pulling like handkerchief out of
just the one
out of a hat. No, actually there was two.
Oh,
yeah. But what he did, still don't really know how he did it. Is there was like a red one and a yellow one.
Yep.
And I'd put my hand in and pull out the red one, and it'd come out and it's like red and yellow. It's the first trick.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, okay, put it back in. And then I pull it out and then it's yellow and red. And he's like, see, I changed the handkerchief. And he's like, goes to do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he's kind of making a fool out of me. And this guy will pay.
Yeah.
And so put it back in. Yeah. I think there might have even been one more time maybe. And he's like, look, now it's red and yellow.
Yeah.
And then, so at that point, I was like, I'm going to pretend to start crying because in front of like a crowd of people, he's like humiliating me. So yeah, he kind of puts it back in and I'm like, oh. And it didn't last very long because he's like, oh, no, like, do it one more time. And then I pull it out and it's like blue and green.
Okay.
And then I'm like, thank you. That's the trick you're meant to do. Rather than making a fool out of me. I swear to God, if I put this in and back out again and it's green and blue, I will lose my fucking mind.
Okay. I don't know exactly. I can't put my finger exactly on it, but there's something about stories you've told in your childhood where even as a child, you like to bring people down to size.
Yeah.
So there was some interesting detail that I didn't even ask for that you provided there.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So to be clear, is one of these a lie? Or do I need to determine lie, truth, or?
I'm not sure. I hadn't decided how I was gonna.
Okay.
I think you should just see how you feel about all of them.
The first story. Mm-hmm. It seems like the kind of thing you do as a kid. Because I know things you do as a kid, and you're really excited for it. And you're like, this is great. And you get to school and it just doesn't land.
Yeah.
So I resonate with that feeling that you described.
Yeah, right.
So I'm going to say that's true.
Okay. I'm going to let you just keep going first before I reveal all of them.
The second one is a good panicked kid move. Mm-hmm. To throw something out a window and assume that's fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like... I don't know. I feel like you're craftier than that sometimes. So I'm going to say that's a lie.
Okay.
And then the third one I'm going to say is true.
Okay. I can let you know.
Yeah.
Yes, I did wear a dress on my last day of primary school. Dressed up a girl. Thought it'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. I even remember specifically my sister being like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Before we got there. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be hilarious. People are going to be like, oh, Nelson, that hilarious guy.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I would, it was kind of embarrassing, but there's a part of me that's like, I'm glad I did that. Because it was just a bit weird, bit of fun, a wacky thing to kind of do on the last day. And yeah, so I actually remember it was funny because I wore a dress but I also think, I think it was actually a skirt and a boob tube, they called it. But obviously I don't have any boobs and I'm wearing also my sister's clothing and she's older than me and, bigger than me. And I remember there was a mass and there were parents there as well. And one of the parents who kind of knew me and knew that I had, dressed up, was like, hey, Nelson. And I had got told by the teacher earlier to put a jacket on because there was a priest at this mass. And she was like, I'm just not sure he's going to, appreciate this, So
now the church isn't normally judgmental.
Yeah.
But in this one case.
This rare case. And so then I was like, yeah, okay. Anyway, so then we're in this kind of ass. The parent at the back is like, Nelson, just show these other parents what you've done. It's kind of funny. Take your jacket off kind of thing. And I was like, okay. So I did that, but I didn't realize that while my jacket was on, the boob tube had dropped until it was under my nipples. So it looked like I turned around and flashed all of the parents. And they pissed themselves laughing. And I was like, oh, this is awkward. Pulled the boob tube up again. Totally fine. Story number 2. I once threw a chopping board I ruined out the window, hoping no one would notice. Yeah, I did that.
Oh.
Yeah. And honestly, one thing you didn't ask me was my age. I reckon I was above an age that I shouldn't have done this. I was in my teens, I reckon.
Oh, yeah. I was picturing younger. Yeah, I was picturing 10.
Yeah.
But then again, I guess you wouldn't really be cooking pizza when you're 10, would you?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure it was pizza. It was definitely a pizza tray thing that made the burn into this chopping board. But I panicked because I was like, I'm going to get in trouble for this. And so I was like, I reckon if I just throw it out of the window, my mum won't notice that it's gone.
Yeah.
God knows why. She wouldn't notice that it's gone. And then that'd be it. But then like that night, my mum was like, does anybody know where this chopping board's gone? I'm like, nope, no idea. Then, and it became like this big mystery, right? Because how the F does a chopping board just totally disappear? Like that's insane. And then my brother, I think, got blamed for it. Even to the point where, so I want to say probably months later, maybe even a year, maybe even over a year, my mum was doing gardening and obviously found the chopping board
outside of your window.
Outside my window. But remember, I said I changed bedrooms. So it wasn't like instantly clear that was me. And then my mother still blamed my brother.
Wow.
Because she like saw, because there were still those burn marks in it. And she was like, oh, I reckon Stephen did this. And I just stood by and said nothing while Stephen copped all this blame. And he was like, no, it wasn't me, bloody hell. And then, I don't know, like years later after that, I was like, I came clean. I was like, yeah, I threw that out. And by the way, still used that chopping board because it was totally fine. She just like, like obviously cleaned it.
Yeah.
It was outside for so long, but it was like a good quality kind of one. So we just had this reminder in the kitchen of my shame of this chopping board that's slightly burnt.
All the years later, when you finally came clean, was your mum still a little bit upset about it? You know how sometimes like parents can hold like odd grudges?
No, I think she just thought it was so funny that like I had decided to do that because it was just so inconsequential.
Your brother Stephen also thought it was pretty funny.
No, my brother actually got angry at me. He was like, you just stood there while they blamed me for throwing out this chopping board. I was like, oops, sorry.
In a way, Stephen, we don't know it wasn't you.
Yeah.
You just admitted it was you.
Sounds like something a guilty person would say. And the last one, I once pretended to cry during a magic show to ruin the Magician's Act.
Not
that
true?
was a lie.
Yeah.
That was a lie. That magic act was a similar thing that I saw happen once.
Right.
I thought I'd play on a bit of something.
Yeah. Movie World, great setting.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you said Movie World, I know enough about it, but not that much about it. I'm like, magic tricks. They probably do magic tricks.
Yeah.
Because like, where do you go to see a magic show is a big one. If you're like, oh, well, we're down at a place that does magic shows, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Something fishy there, yeah. Yeah, see, I'm not even sure if, like, when I saw this act previously, it was at Movie World. I still don't know if they do magic shows at Movie World. Maybe.
They could.
Seems like something. Maybe. Anyway, that was the one. So if listener, you guess those correctly, then you win a prize.
Yeah. Not from us.
Not from us.
But it'll arrive.
Somebody ask around.
Yeah, ask around for a prize.
All right, let's get into the Ask Me Anything, where listeners of the show, just like you, listener, can write in and ask us anything you want.
Got one here from Liz. It says, hello, gentlemen. I have no idea if it's been a while or not. I've realized that I do not seem to understand time anymore.
Fair enough.
Could be, I don't know too much about Liz, that she's stuck in some kind of infinite bookcase like the end of the movie Interstellar.
Oh.
Where Matthew McConaughey becomes unstuck from time.
Yeah, time is...
So if you are in a bookcase of time, which I think is how that movie ends, he gets stuck in a bookcase of time.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
They were going to call it Bookcase of Time.
Yeah.
And
Interstellar Bookcase of Time it was called. And they were like, sure.
Yeah. It's catchier.
Yeah. They continue. When is the last time you woke up with a song stuck in your head, and what was the song? I wake up entirely too often with the song What Would Brian Benito Do from the South Park movie. I have no explanations. Later, Liz. P.S. I feel like I've finally been allowed to eat at the grown-ups table now that I'm caught up and get to listen to the podcast episodes as released.
You can go to the committee of adults and say, I've caught up to the episodes, the Red on Red podcast episodes. I'm now an adult. And they say, agreed. Okay, so the last song that got stuck into my head, and I'm certain that I did end up... It kind of got stuck into my head, before I went to sleep, but then when I woke up in the morning, it was still stuck in my head.
Yep.
And it was the stupidest song, and I totally blame my girlfriend because it wasn't stuck into my head until she said, I've got this song stuck into my head, and then it was stuck into my head. And it's the most bizarre. I'm going to say more bizarre than this. What would Brian Benito do in the from the South Park movie? We've been watching Ted Lasso, and the crowd sometimes do chants.
Yeah.
One, for example, is Jamie Tart, Jamie Tart. You would think that was the song that got stuck in my head. Bit more catchy. No, it wasn't that. It was. He's there, here, he's there, he's every fucking where, Roy Kent.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
What a weird chant to get stuck in my head. It's totally fictional. It's just a chant. It sort of doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Stuck in my head forever.
It is,
really
I will
annoying.
admit, a great chant.
It's a good chant,
It seems
yeah.
like such a genuine football chant.
It
and
does,
maybe
yeah.
it is based on a real one or something,
Maybe,
where they've
yeah.
subbed in the fictional character or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a very catchy chant.
Yeah. So dumb.
I had this happen to me very recently.
Right.
Recently saw The Batman.
Oh, yeah.
And the movie has what I think is one of the best Batman themes. Like every Batman has a different theme.
Yep.
So like the Tim Burton-y ones are very much like a swelling orchestra, dun, 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 kind of thing. The Nolan ones are just kind of like a weird string, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
But this new one, the day after I saw it, I woke up and I had the new Batman
Right,
stuck
yeah.
in my head, which it sounds a bit like the Imperial March from the Star Wars movies.
Yeah,
See if
okay.
I can even get some going here. You'll get the good bit. Hang on.
Yeah.
So I woke up going, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, that's a pretty weird one. With no lyrics. And often
was-
I feel like normally it's an upbeat thing that'll get stuck in your head. This is kind of pretty low.
But it was just because the theme, the dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
repeats throughout. And it was just that little harmonic dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 almost like the rhythmic nature of it. That was
yeah.
stuck in my head.
Yeah. I hate it sometimes when songs or tunes get stuck in my head because, like, I feel like I'm the person where it will be stuck with me for like days and days, and I'll just be so annoyed at myself for having it stuck in there. And yeah, sometimes I really hate it. Depends what song it is.
What's an example of a song that you'd be glad to have stuck in your head?
Uptown Funk. It's a great song.
Yeah, great. All right.
It's a good song. Anywho, that's it for another episode. Thank you for writing in, Liz. Oh yeah, we only had one.
Yeah.
This episode again. If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast, gmail.com. You can also reach us at Facebook, Twitter, and our subreddit. They're all READIT podcast. We'd also appreciate it if you could subscribe and stuff.
Yep.
And have children and then get those children
Yeah, that's
to rate the podcast 5
actually
stars.
really important for us,
Yeah.
for you to do that.
Don't make fake accounts. We think that's dishonest.
Yeah.
You need the actual children to then make their own podcast accounts.
Yeah.
And
Fake accounts have no longevity.
yeah.
Kids, they've got 80 plus years on this planet to subscribe and listen.
If they were interviewed in some way, they would, it would validate their realness.
Yeah.
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 Can't interview a fake account, can you? Something like that. Thanks for listening, and we will read you later.